to a person's frustration and anger.
I've never, ever seen anybody like you.
The jury does hereby impose the death penalty upon the defendant Theodore Robert Bundy.
11 years, and that was because he spit at his mom. And I cried for spanking him because I told myself when I was growing up I would never spank my kids no matter what.
What drives an individual to commit a heinous act without apparent motive or remorse? How do killers who plan their crimes methodically and without emotion reconcile their actions with their conscience? What motivates cold-blooded killers to continue their violent behaviour even when faced with the prospect of being caught? The history of crime has witnessed killers who show repentance for their evil acts, and then there are some who show no remorse. These individuals are the most chilling, completely devoid of empathy or guilt. Here are 7 killers who showed no remorse in court. Number 7. Michael Swanson. The 70-year-old Minnesota man convicted of killing 2 lower convenience store clerks in 2010 was seen smirking and smiling while the judge read him his sentence.
Blooded murder, young man. And your counsel wants us to believe that you lack the capacity, that you were insane.
While the judge tried to elaborate on how serious the killer's crime were, he smiled and laughed. He stood cold-blooded while the victim's family members told him what they thought of him. His face was frozen and showed no emotion whatsoever. During a counselling session, Swanson said he committed the murders to feel powerful, even after listening to the curses of the victim's family members. It doesn't look like he has learnt his lesson. At 21, he managed to kill a fellow inmate with a knife that he smuggled into prison, adding another 25 years to his sentence number. Number 6. Randall Moore. Moore kidnapped, raped and murdered his separated wife on November 11, 2009, a month after she left Moore and filed a legal protection order against him. During the trial of Randall Moore, the judge was gobsmacked and told that Moore had given a new meaning to the word evil. Surprisingly, police officer Todd Rowland was also harmed as he reacted to the cries for help and tried to stop him. Randall Moore reportedly attacked and abused his opposing attorney also. The judge read out that he was guilty of first-degree murder, and Moore's response to this was unbelievable. His only reaction was a slight nod, and the court's transcript showed him no remorse whatsoever. He was found blaming his wife for taking his son away from him. Number 5. Ronnie O'Neal. One of the worst cases in history of courtroom trials is that of Ronnie O'Neal. Ronnie O'Neal was on a court case accused of murdering his girlfriend, their 9-year-old daughter, and the attempted murder of his son, who managed to escape. When the judge asked if he was sorry, the criminal responded, "I'm not sorry for something I didn't do, and I'm not sorry for the things I did do."
I am not sorry for something I didn't do, and I am not sorry for the things I did do.
Shockingly, Ronnie openly admitted to killing his wife and his daughter. His incredibly brave son had to testify while cross-examined by his father, who tried to murder him. He boldly told the court that his father cruelly stabbed him. The kid has been adopted into a new family with 5 new siblings who accepted him into their lives. Number 4. Richard Ramirez. Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, was a serial killer who terrorized Los Angeles in the mid-80s. He is infamous for his brutal attacks on random victims, including rape, torture and murder. Richard Ramirez, whose murderous crime rampage petrified Southern California and bemused the police for months, was found guilty of all 43 Night Stalker crimes, including 13 murders. Ramirez was scornful and unremorseful in court, showing no empathy for his victims or their family members. During his first appearance in front of a judge in 1985, Ramirez held his palm for the cameras so they could broadcast to millions of viewers a pentagram he had drawn on his hand. Ramirez then pleaded innocent to all charges and shouted "Hail Satan" before he was led out of the courtroom. Ramirez continued with his negative comments in the further proceedings also. As he was taken out of the courthouse, Ramirez flashed a 2-fingered devil sign to photographers. According to sources close to him, it was reported that he was not surprised by the verdicts. Ramirez expected that he would be avenged. Number 3. Luis Bracamontes. Here in the disgusting footage of a cop killer who cannot stop smiling in court. He killed 2 officers, shockingly wished he had killed even more. The courtroom was very dramatic on his first day of trial when Bracamontes yelled out that he knew what he'd done, that this trial was a waste of time. He deliberately called one of his victims a coward, and he got increasingly furious and started chuckling away when given details about the murders. In a previous trial, where no cameras were allowed, reporters noted that he was relaxed and easygoing. He lightheartedly turned to the gallery reporters and asked them, "How are you guys?" Towards the end, he casually asked for the death penalty, as he was no more interested in wasting his time in court. Number 2, Isabel Martinez. After watching the cases we discussed, you might have thought that all remorseless killers are men. Here is the story of a mother accused of murdering her 4 children. In the courtroom, the woman gave a bizarre thumbs up as she faced the judge for the first time, smiling throughout the entire sentence. The motive behind her killing was unbelievable and superstitious. She said she wanted her late father and offered her children to God. In exchange for her father, she claimed that she heard voices from God that disturbed her, and in a deluded state, she thought this was the right thing to do. Number 1, Ted Bundy. Here is the cold-blooded story of Ted Bundy, a dangerous serial killer who murdered at least 30 young women and girls during the 70s. Despite strong evidence against him, Bundy managed to maintain his innocence until the very end. He was cold and calculating in court, showing no remorse for his crimes at all, while the judge let Bundy make a statement before pronouncing the sentence. What he told was upsetting. "I'm not asking for mercy. Before I find it somewhat absurd to ask for mercy for something I did not do, so that I will not be tortured for and suffer for and receive pain for the act, but I will not share the burden for the guilt." The judge cited the savagery of his crimes during the announcement of the verdict. Bundy is planning for an appeal. Meanwhile, he has been ordered to stay in prison and await the setting of a date for his execution in the electric chair. These killers are some of the most chilling and depraved individuals in history, and their lack of remorse only adds to their infamy. Their crimes will never be forgotten, and their legacy serves as a reminder of the darkest aspects of human nature. These individuals are often labelled psychopaths or sociopaths, but the truth is much more complicated. What drives someone to commit heinous acts without feeling guilt or remorse? Let's delve deeper into the psychology of these killers. One key factor contributing to the lack of remorse in killers is a lack of empathy. It's the ability to understand and feel the emotions of others, and it plays a crucial role in the regulation of our behaviour. However, in some individuals, this ability is impaired, leading to a disregard for the well-being of others. The lack of empathy allows these killers to commit brutal acts without remorse or guilt. Individuals with a distorted sense of reality see themselves as the victims even if they commit the crimes. They may have experienced trauma or abuse in their own lives, which is distorted their perception of reality. This can lead to a sense of entitlement where they feel justified in their actions, even if they are morally blameworthy. Some killers without remorse may also have a deep-seated need for control and power. They often consider their victims objects manipulated and controlled rather than human beings with their thoughts and feelings. It's crucial to note that all individuals who lack remorse are not killers. Many individuals who lack empathy or a distorted sense of reality may not necessarily commit violent crimes. However, in some cases, these traits can combine with other factors, creating toxic relationships and societal abuses. So what can be done to prevent these killers from acting out in their violent tendencies? Early identification and proper intervention is the key. It is inevitable to point out the signs of the lack of empathy or a distorted sense of reality in children and young adults to avoid future violent acts. Therapy and counselling can also help treat these individuals and teach them healthier ways. In conclusion, the psychology of killers with no remorse is an intense and frightening subject. We hope this video has shed some light on the bizarre manoeuvre of killers and sparked further discussion and reflection on this difficult but necessary topic. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned for more thought-provoking content from our channel.